On Second Shot, we tackle 2 new headlines every week to find out what kind of wisdom the world is dishing out today. And we want you to be a part of that. When you see a headline you want to take a second shot at, or if you're looking for advice, or just want to tell us what you think of the show, email us at secondshotcast@gmail.com. If you like what you hear, rate us on iTunes. This helps us move up in the ratings so more people will see us. And if you want to hear more, subscribe to the show so that the new episodes will get straight to you every single Friday. We love you. Thanks for listening and enjoy.
Heath Oaks is a millennial mogul whose ignorance on fire led him to fail his way to success. Jenny Anchondo is an Emmy award-winning journalist whose sharp eye and biting wit have led to her storied career in television. Together, they tackle today's headlines in a way only an odd couple with a dash of perfect opposite can. So kick back, relax, and join the conversation. This is Second Shot with your hosts, Heath and Jenny.
I think I'm going to have a shocking statement for everybody.
Oh, no.
In Dallas right now, it's the Texas State Fair, and I, Heath Oaks, could care less about going to the State Fair.
Whoa!
Jenny, Zach, and Matt, what do y'all think of that?
Rude. That was one of our first dates.
Yeah, the State Fair is a storied tradition, Heath.
I like really fun, like thrilling rides, but the rides at the fair are all like too dizzy to make you want to vomit, not like have fun with.
I hope that Big Tex is not hearing this right now because he would be very offended and hurt.
I don't think I've rode a single ride at the fair. I've been on the Ferris wheel, but that's about it.
Well, so many things have happened at those fair rides and carnival rides. I don't blame you in terms of the rides.
Yeah.
But Heath, I feel like that was a little bit of false advertising on your part when we had one of our first dates and you gave a faux fair fan situation.
Fair fan?
I mean, not that I'm a big fair person.
I was about to say you're not either.
Right.
So what are you even trying to? What are you talking about?
We
Like
got
you
each other
can't care
figured
less.
out.
The thing is, it's super expensive.
Yes.
It's overrated and expensive, and it's just not my favorite jam. I'd rather go to Six Flags any day.
Listen, I'll admit that I'm a bit spoiled. For the last several years, I've been going to the fair on media passes and other things like that. So
Same.
it's a completely different experience than if you're having to pay to park. Ride dart, everybody. If you haven't, it's actually a great way to get to the fair. But
Yeah.
if you're having to pay to park, if you're having to pay to get in, if you're having to pay for all the coupons and everything like that, like it's a tall order. I can understand that. I still love going to the fair at least once. I go to the car show.
I like the car show.
I'll get a corn dog. There you go.
I do like going to the
It's
car
a
show.
when in Rome kind of situation. Like when I moved to Texas, I was like, okay, this state fair is
You gotta
like
go.
no other state
You gotta
fair.
go.
Right.
But I agree, the media passes do make it a little bit easier.
absolutely.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying I'm
Get
not
it.
going to go. I'm definitely going because I'm going to the OU Texas game, so I will be going at that point.
You're going to go check it out. Yeah, once you go on like a weekday with a media pass and people hand you food to try on camera, you can't come down
It's
from
a
that.
whole other world.
Yeah.
Having a stand in line to buy tickets like a schlub on a Saturday totally isn't worth your time. But I'll probably go.
Y'all
on
are
like
all,
a weekday. Though,
Y'all
I won't
are
go
all
on the
just way
weekend.
too bougie.
That's what. Right. The rides aren't fast enough, and the car show isn't car enough.
No,
That's,
I like
that's
the car
Heath
show.
Oaks
The car
complaint.
show is great.
Okay.
Look,
You
there's
guys-
not enough perks for working in media. You got to take them where you get.
I think
It's
the
true.
the first headline we got today is super kind of getting heated everywhere.
Oh gosh, yes.
It is controversial.
It is, in the best
which we
way.
love.
I
Some
know.
spice on a podcast day.
Yes. Our first headline: Airline introduces baby seat map to allow passengers to avoid infants. So Japan Airlines, don't know if you've ever flown them, has come up with this brilliant new system. Whenever a parent registers their child to come on their airline to be on a plane, a little child icon will pop up over the child's seat if they're 8 months to 2 years old. And so that is going to be seen by everybody booking a ticket on that flight. You're going to see, there's a kid sitting there, there's a kid sitting there, and there's a kid sitting there. And you can pick your seat in accordance of where that child is going to sit. No other airline does this, and this only works on the Japan Airlines website. If you go through like Expedia or one of those other ones, it won't work. So they're definitely trying to drive
That's
you towards
smart.
there. I know,
I
good
love
marketing,
that.
yeah,
Genius.
But this is raised a furor in the comments because people want to know, is this right? Is this wrong? Should you have to worry about booking around babies? Should babies even be on airplanes? Parents have hot takes. People who aren't parents have hot takes. What do you guys think?
What was your second shot? And for people who are new to the podcast, by the way, the idea isn't that we give our opinions on the headline itself. We take a second shot to pull out a life lesson or to pull out like a different take and kind of get the conversation going. We just want you to be hopefully working on an elevated level of thinking.
Mindful.
Yeah. Being
Yeah.
mindful, thinking. We like, continual growth is about being open to different perspectives and hearing different ideas. So, what was your second shot on this?
I do think that this is another one of those things that is our world of a bunch of sissies that there's people in hot arms over this. I have a 2-year-old, and I could care less if it had the baby over because some people.
If you
if
had
they
a baby over, what do you mean?
Well, the baby over the icon, and if I was taking
if somebody
Brighton with
let you
me
know
and
that-
somebody didn't want to sit by us, like I get it.
Are you
like
saying from
I'm
like
okay.
the parent standpoint, like
All these parents that are
you would
outraged
not be
over it, they're
upset
mad. No,
if you got labeled as a child
No.
carrier
No.
on the flight.
no, not at all.
Well, because you don't want to be annoying people who are going to
Yes.
be easily annoyed by a baby.
Yeah, I
Right?
don't know why it's a big deal. Like it's not like they are. My opinion is, let them choose if they want to. Some people are going to be stuck by it, whatever. So I don't really care because I don't blame you if you don't want to sit next to me with my child. Sometimes, you know what I mean. Like I would rather have people wanting to sit next to me that want to sit next to me, and so that's where I kind of go back on my second shot on it was like. Sometimes we try to fit in so hard with friends or a group of business or whatnot when people don't want us back. And sometimes we need to let that go and be okay with it. Like it's 10 times better to be with people that want to be with you than people that you're trying to force in. And then they're going to be miserable with you. And you may not know it till the end of that flight, but you're going to find out sooner or later. So, like, stop trying to fit yourself in with something that doesn't want you in and be okay with that. Like, it's okay. Like, I don't want somebody around me that doesn't want me.
That's like one of those lessons that you kind of learn in middle school.
Yeah.
You know, you think you want to be a part of that crowd, but you're not. You don't actually
Like
have the
it.
same interests, and you try so hard. And what a relief it is when you get to like high school or maybe college or maybe after college when you come into your own and realize, oh, it's okay that I'm not like the quote unquote cool kids. I've got my own thing going and I'm so much happier when I express that. Is that
Yeah.
kind
Or
of
like
like what you're saying?
Yeah, and like how many of those people that sit there and, want to go do a job of their parents or whatever, were doctors and they're having to go and be a doctor, but they're hating it and they're stuck in it. No, make the move. Do what you want to do. Take your own run. Like you don't have to go and be in somebody else's picked little corner for you. You can go and spread your wings and go be wherever you want to be and whoever you want to be. To heck with all them. And if they don't want you and if you don't want them, then go on. Don't be okay with it. It's great.
I think this also speaks to recognizing the impact that you have on others. I'm sure, like I don't have a child, but I'm sure for y'all, I mean, you have every much of a right to travel as anybody else, right? Like you
Sure.
have every much of a right to book an airline ticket and travel. But you also probably recognize that it's different when you have a child with you.
For sure.
And it's not just different for yourself, but it's different for others. So I think if, like, speaking to Heath's point, if you're a parent and you're upset by this, I think you ought to step back for a minute and just recognize, hey, it's not directed at my child personally. It's not directed at me personally, but it's just directed at the general experience of traveling with, especially a baby or a small child on a plane, that it impacts others generally in negative ways. So if you can find ways to mitigate that, then I think there's nothing wrong with that. No one's saying you can't fly. It's just saying, hey, here's more information for others that are traveling that may want to choose to sit elsewhere if it's going to be a problem.
Totally. I look at traveling with kids sort of like bears. Like they're more scared of you than you are of them. Sort of like, don't worry, we're more miserable than
Yes.
you.
Right.
Than you could
You know
ever be hearing our child 10 rows back. Trust me.
You're seated the closest to them.
We are the closest. We are more scared of this situation than
And
you
we
are.
know that 90% of you are not happy about
Right,
this.
yeah.
And if we were one of
Yeah.
y'all, we probably would not be happy about it either because nobody's all.
I've never minded it because I feel like I've always had the empathy and the hope that one day I would be traveling with a child. So it's sort of like, trying to be nice karma.
Oh, see, I was the opposite. I was the one who I wish I could go back and change my thinking because I was the opposite.
I do like that idea. I do like that second shot with regard to kind of finding your people and owning it, even if it feels a little weird in the beginning. The other thing I thought about in terms of a second shot, and I'll say it really quickly because I know we have to wrap this segment up, but was thinking about aggravating factors in your life. Some of us have things that bug us every single day. And what are we doing to possibly adjust our schedule so that that's no longer an annoyance so we can live in greater bliss? To me, this seating situation is a way for people to live in greater bliss, for parents to feel not uncomfortable because they're not worried about the person behind them being annoyed, and for people who could potentially be annoyed, they get to be further away. So how can we sort of adjust our lives to prevent the known annoyances from coming in? So like, for example, if you're listening in Dallas or maybe LA or New York or DC or these heavily trafficked areas, like what would it be worth? Would it be worth it? Are you so annoyed by the traffic that it would be worth it for you to show up at work an hour earlier and get some other stuff done? Like,
or stuck in that carpool line that you hate. Why don't you get there 30 minutes early?
Right.
And then you're not stuck in the line?
So it's an annoyance to have to get up earlier or leave earlier, but perhaps,
What's worse?
Yeah, what's worse? Is it you have to kind of like weigh those risks. Like, for example, I had noticed that we were having super chaotic mornings getting Brighton out the door. So I'm like, okay, Jenny, you have to get your workout done before she gets up. You just have to. I would like to be able to kind of start it and then have her kind of wake up and then finish it with her around. But it's so aggravating for her. It's so aggravating for me that it's worth it for me to get up earlier and make an adjustment. Same thing with meals. Like, it's worth it to do a little bit of a meal prep or plan it out in my head ahead of time rather than getting to dinner and being totally stressed out. Like, I don't know what we're having.
Yeah. I'm totally with you. I mean, I think that when you take a look at it and realize maybe you're a round peg trying to fit yourself in a square hole because somebody else may want you there, or you just think you want to be there but you really don't want to, look, make a decision for your own self and get the heck out of it. And then the second thing is, if you're sitting there being annoyed by all these little things, why don't you make a change? It's up to you to do it. Get up earlier, so you don't have to be stuck in the carpool line or the traffic that annoys you. You have the ability to make that decision. We'll be back in a minute on the second segment of Second Shot.
He makes up words, she translates them. Heath and Jenny host more of Second Shot, coming up on RNCN.
Okay, you guys, we have been working on this partnership for a while. This is a company that we've used as a couple, we've used individually, and now they are on board as a sponsor. So we're giving a big shout out to myllc.com. You used them back in the day, right?
I've been using
like when
them,
you first got started in business.
I've been using them for 12, 13 years. It was the easiest thing in the world. If anybody's thought about setting up a company, paying big lawyer fees, they think it's a big, mountain of a task to take on. But with myllc.com, if you go on their website and you call them, if you're doing an S Corp, a C Corp, or anything, they're going to walk you through it. They won't make you feel dumb. And they're going to handle every process every year from now on from you, the stuff with the state and all of those things. So if you have any rental property outside of your own home, you need to have it in an LLC or an S Corp or something in order to protect you legally if you're doing side hustles. You need to invoice them from the legal entity because it can protect you legally. In myllc.com/second shot, there's a coupon code 99 myllc, right?
Well, yeah, all you have to do is go to myllc.com/second shot and it'll give you $99 off, which is super generous. And this is kind of like a limited thing. So if you were thinking about it, again, you kind of started your side business, you're thinking about getting it going, or you've got a big business. I mean, they work with all sizes. It's $99 off. The other thing, if you're already on the site, you can use the coupon code 99myllc. Again, it's 99myllc from myllc.com. This is the company we've used for all of our different entities and projects. They've been so great to work with, and we're just excited to have them on as partners.
myllc.com/second shot. Go now. Run.
Ready? Aim. Fire. Second Shot is back for another round on RNCN.
This next headline is one of those that could be potentially like ground shaking, earth moving. Like, this could put a wrench in a lot of people's
I have
plans.
a feeling the group's going to blow up about this one.
Yeah.
I hope so.
This is one that I first learned about from this rule was something I first learned about from one of my favorite movies, The Program. Which I had on VHS.
And let's all take
how.
a poll. Who would think that Jenny Anchondo's favorite movie would be The Program? And if
I
you've
would not
never
have guessed
watched
that.
it,
I would not have guessed
then
that.
go watch it and you'll see why
Yeah.
that is a shocker.
Who's
So
in the
the
program?
quote is.
You never watched the program? You're a movie guy? You've never watched
Yeah,
that?
you need to do a movie
Hold on.
review on that.
All
You're
right.
killing me.
I don't know
Fake fan.
how it
Yeah.
came about that this was a favorite of mine, probably just because it was the one movie I had on VHS. But the quote was, and the NCAA beep won't let us have jobs. And it was an angry football player. And I remember being like, wait, what do you mean? Anyway, so here's the story.
Yes. First things first, the program came out in 1993 and stars James Caan and Halle Berry. Okay, that was killing
Halle
me.
Berry was so just
Too much of a
darling.
movie.
in
Halle
it,
Berry
too.
is hot.
Yeah, I said darling. He said hot. You know.
That's a
You
second
know,
shot.
different strokes, different folks. Yes, our second headline, NCAA athletes could be paid under new California law. It has been a bedrock principle behind college sports. Student athletes should not be paid beyond the costs of attending a university. But California is threatening that standard after a bill was signed into law by their governor to allow players to strike endorsement deals and hire agents. Now, the new law, which is supposed to take effect in 2023, is basically attacking the philosophy college athletes should earn a degree and not money for playing sports. There's a whole how to do about how they're paid and the value of their scholarships and degrees versus monetary costs, and I don't know enough about the NCAA to really get into it, so leave it to Heath and Matt. But the point of this is these athletes should be able to monetize their own brand. They say in here, every single student in the university can market their name, image, and likeness. They can make a YouTube channel. They can tutor math classes if they want, and they can monetize it. The only group that can't is athletes. Why? So that's the question, and this has been a controversial topic amongst the NCAA. So Heath, Matt, you guys are the sports experts, and Jenny, to a point, much more so than
Now
me.
that I've watched
her
the
favorite
program,
movie.
I-
Yeah,
I
now
am,
that you've seen the program.
basically,
What do we think?
ESPN podcast.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: is I totally it can be very difficult for the college to directly pay the athletes, because honestly, if they're probably more than likely the football program in most colleges are going to be the most highest revenue, so they can make a lot of money. The track team may not,
Most
etc.
highest.
Yeah,
It's like really high.
yeah.
Most
so I make
is
up
most.
words, whatever I want to say.
That's right.
Jenny.
Can't stop it.
Jenny. But this is a good step because here's what I don't understand. Now, like I can get how that can be difficult. But what I don't understand is how anybody in college does not have the ability to earn money outside of it. That's the problem, because the math tutor, the math genius that goes at college can make money tutoring people for math outside of it. Like Zach said, anybody there can make a skateboard and a YouTube video and
Sure.
make money, but like the football guy cannot, or girl, none of them can make money. The female athlete, the basketball player, she can't earn money outside of it. Like, that's an issue. Like, to tell them that they can't earn it outside of it, and I think that's something that anybody could go to and kind of agree on. So this is going to be
not everybody agrees on that.
well, not everybody. Well, no, I know, but I mean, I think the majority, that is something that can be easier move forward than deciding on how much the colleges pay players.
Right, how much to pay them, allowing to them to, sure, you can have a side hustle.
Whatever they
Basically,
wanna
what
do.
we're doing is
Outside of it,
allowing
they
a,
can.
a side hustle. And it's interesting because a lot of media stations, TV stations, won't allow their news anchors and reporters and such to have a job outside of it. And that I understand a little bit more because
They are a job.
they
they
already
get
have
paid.
a job that they're getting paid for, and then second of all, because of relationships with advertisers and such. Whereas this is a little bit different because they're not getting paid; they're just going to school. Whereas the regular student could, have a side hustle on Instagram
Yeah.
or working at the student union building.
I don't want to get too far down the road of just commenting on the story, but it is certainly an interesting topic. And I do think, like Heath said, I do think it starts to get problematic if you're just saying, hey, we're just cutting everybody a check. Because then where do you stop? Is it all athletes? Are you looking, something that's near and dear to my heart, like the band? Like, you look at something like the Ohio
The
State.
band is not getting paid, Matt.
I know that, but what I'm saying
Criminal.
is, like, you look at like the OSU band, which is as much
For
of a
sure.
billboard for that university as anything else. That gets shared all over
But
the place.
Matt,
So do they not?
Nobody's
do they
tuning
not?
in to watch the band.
I
Let's be real.
disagree. I absolutely disagree with that. My point is, if you're talking about money that is generated through either marketing or through ticket sales, all of this factors in. I'm not saying you pay them the
For
same.
sure.
You pay them the same as a football player, but like, do they not also deserve a cut?
I agree.
So yeah, I do think if you simply say, hey, if you want to strike some sort of licensing deal for yourself, I think the university might be entitled to a little bit of that because you are trading off of the university's name, especially if you're playing for something like UT. Like, it matters that you're a UT football player, so I think that matters as well. But yeah, I don't see a problem with that. I do think it starts to get a little iffy if you're just saying, hey, you're now an employee of the university.
So
So what's the second shot on this
What
story?
is the second shot?
Right.
Yeah, so I kind of looked at it like the force of sometimes we're pushed to change when we don't want to, or sometimes we're too late to change, or we don't listen to intuition till it's too late. So because the NCAA has been having lots of pressure a lot lately for many years on something like this, and now that a state comes out and makes this a law, like it's going to make things much more difficult for them. So like in life, sometimes we have our intuition or our gut telling us to do something and we don't want to act on it. And then next thing you know, it's too late and there's been a law passed or something that's kind of forced your hand at it. Then you're not as willing to want to do it. You're not as happy about doing it. It's not as joyous when you knew that you should have. That's also in your business or whatever, when you feel like you should pivot, but you're not. You don't really want to wait until the law or something like that comes and mandates you doing it. Make your changes and pivot beforehand. Listen to what your gut's telling you. That's kind of where I go with it.
I do think on a certain level, people at universities probably know that you're getting away with something here, right? You're taking advantage of not having to pay people for all of the money that you generate. So I think Heath's right. Like, at some level, someone knew this is probably not the right thing to do, and we probably need to find a way to fix this. But we don't have to fix it, so we're not gonna fix it. And I think, yeah, like you ought to take a step back and say, I'm not required to do this, but it's the right thing to do, and I should look at that.
Pivoting ahead of time.
Yep.
So sort of taking an analysis and doing it before you're forced to, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
What did you think? What was your second shot on this one, Zach?
Mine's similar to Heath's, but in a different approach, because I've got hot takes about who should and shouldn't be able to have a side hustle. And to me, like, if these athletes are at a point where they could start doing Facebook Lives and monetizing it, like, clearly there's enough people out there that want to see their content, that want to see what they're doing. And these schools and the NCAA, rather than say, you know what, let's think about that need in the market space and do something about it and maybe utilize that in a way that's productive for all of us, instead they're just saying, oh, you can't do it because we don't understand it. They're afraid. They're afraid of what they don't understand. And that frustrates me. And I guess what I get out of that is, like, don't just kind of shove something away because you don't get it. Don't look at something and go, well, I don't understand. You know what? We're not going to deal with it right now. We'll kick that can down the road. Like, stop and take a minute and look at a problem and try to figure it out. And maybe there's a way you can get something more out of it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Educate yourself. And that works so frequently like that. It always comes up with technology and with innovation and things like that, because you're right. Like, when we were in college, there was no such thing as a Facebook Live that could be monetized.
No.
Right? So these are old institutions that have, boards of directors and, board of regents and all these people who are maybe not as savvy on that.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is, you can't just know a thing, make a rule, and stick to it forever.
Right.
And expect to be successful and have everybody be happy.
And I can't speak for a lot of these athletes because, again, I don't know a lot of them, of course. But I would imagine a lot of these people have
your hangout.
I imagine they have big follows, right? They got a lot of people on their Snapchat, a lot of people on their Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
Like it or not, whether or not that's monetary, like just like a degree, that's valuable.
Yeah.
Those people have value. That's data, and like that. That's something, that's not nothing.
And so is it not true that sometimes an athlete will leave college a little bit earlier for that professional career, right?
Yeah.
Because of the lure of
What
income.
if they were making some money where they could stay and finish?
Right,
Sure.
so it makes it a little bit more palatable and a little bit more enticing.
Wow, what was that big word you just said?
Palatable.
Palatable.
Wow, is that a real word?
digestible.
That a real
Yes.
word?
Letters.
Oh.
Yes. Did I use it correctly?
It's-
Now I'm
it's-
I don't
questioning it.
know. I don't know what it means.
It makes it a little bit, more comfortable to stay if you know that, hey, you know what, they don't have chains on me. Like, nobody likes to feel like they are being had.
Yeah.
Nobody likes to feel like they are, chained to the walls of whatever institution they're working for or working with. And it's almost like, if you give this to them, some of them will take advantage of it, some of them won't, but either way, they'll know that they can.
Yeah.
And that feeling of freedom goes a really long way with, I'll call the athletes employees. They're not really employees, but
In leadership.
It goes a really long way in leadership, because if people know, hey, you know what, I could kind of do that side hustle if I wanted to. I might not, because I'm being taken care of here and I'm really going to focus on my thing. But if I needed to, I could. And so then it would take away the lure of, so the other companies in this instance would be, the NFL,
Yep.
the NBA, that would be the other company, so to speak. So if we're looking at this from a career standpoint, allowing your employees a little bit of freedom might keep them going from, looking, longingly at the other company that might give them something more because they know they've got a good thing going on right now.
Because they get the power to make their own choices with stuff that they want, I mean, I think that's really, really key, is the power to be able to, and sometimes it's, you can sit there and lay the smack down all you want, but they're still going to be doing it whatever the way they want to do it. And what's happened is it's all been under the table in this instance,
Right.
instead of it just kind of some of that being out front.
And then it's like they're kids and they're kind of getting in trouble or doing something they're not supposed to do. I did love that. When I worked in Indianapolis, I worked for the Fox station there, and they let me do personal training. They let me teach classes. They let me host events. I had every side hustle under the sun. And I just had to agree that it wouldn't conflict with anything I was doing on the air. And they knew that for me, that brought huge value, that I had these outside passions outside of my on-camera job that I wanted to fulfill and I wanted to work on. I could do media training and I could do all kinds of stuff. And it really kept me like a happy little camper because I knew that they respected my outside interests.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think whenever you think about it, that if you've got those things that your intuition or your gut or any of that is telling you to make that move, make that change, and you need to do that. Listen to it. Don't wait till it forces your hand, because a lot of times we're sitting in a bad situation where something bad happened to us, and we want to say poor, pitiful me, but that was finally forcing your hand, that a long time ago, if you'd listened to yourself, you'd have known you had to make those changes. So take ownership of that and make that happen. Pivot before you have to do it. We'll be back in a minute on the third segment of Second Shot.
Now that's what I call ignorance on fire. More of Heath and Jenny still to come.
Okay, we wanted to take a quick minute to tell you guys about a company called Energy Ogre. So Heath and I have been using this company for years to save money on our electricity. We've told you guys about it for months and months and months too. So basically what they do is they shop around your electricity and then they find the lowest option and then they manage it. So you know how if you notice your rates are going up, you might call around. But who really does that? So they do that for you. The deal is that it costs $10 a month, and if they can't save you anything, then you get the $10 back. So for us, what we noticed is it cut our bill at least in half. So we're talking, we were upwards of $200, maybe a little more than $200 a month. Now we're down to $100. Yes, even in the blazing summers here in the Dallas area of Texas. So it's energyogre.com. So here's Ogre. It's OGRE. So ENERGYOGRE.com. And they actually give us a deal for Second Shot listeners. So if you would like to use it, the discount code is Second Shot. So you can try it for free and see how it works. Again, it's really not a risk, because if you get on there and they can't save you any money, then they don't charge you anything, and you'll get to try it out for free with the code Second Shot.
Kick off your boots or suit up. The choice is yours. Welcome back to Second Shot on RNCN.
So one of the things that we told everybody was that whenever we really get like stuff like advertisers and stuff, we only take sponsors that we actually use. So like Energy Ogre has been a part of this for a long time, because it's something that has saved us so much money that we've consistently used Energy Ogre, and use promo code Second Shot and get a free month. We only are going to let people sponsor the show that we actually do use and believe in their deal. And I'm excited to announce our new, that you probably heard on the advertisement so far.
Yes.
MyLLC.com, which has been, I thought about reaching out randomly because I've used them for 12 years or so. I mean, the first business I ever created, I used My LLC. I mean, if you go to a lawyer, it can be thousands of dollars, where My LLC is only hundreds of dollars, and they set it all up.
Yeah, so basically what you do, you go to myllc.com, and then they set up your they do the paperwork for you, and for
everything.
For me,
they do it all.
This is something, my background is not in business. Neither of us went to business school or accounting school or law school or any of these things. So it was for me, sort of made the process less daunting. And the other thing, you guys, is it's like, if you do have a smaller business or a side hustle or something that you're doing on your own, it is pretty important to get your LLC set up, and this just makes it so much easier, and it's way less expensive. So we'll repeat the website again. If you're considering doing the deal, it's $99 off. So it's myllc.com/second shot if you want to check it out.
And the key here is that it's not just LLC, S Corp, C Corps. If your CPA says any of those things, you can do it. And a couple things is if you're doing any side hustles or if you own real estate, you need to have them in LLCs to legally protect yourself. If you're doing Uber driving, you should have an LLC and have that run through that so you're legally protecting yourself. And I understand before it's daunting. It sounds like, how do I even start?
Yeah.
My LLC does it all. If you go on their myllc.com/second shot, you're going to get $199 off. And if you go on their website and you're confused, call them and they walk you through it all and they make it super easy. So we're super excited about having My LLC as a sponsor here.
Tell them you heard about it on Second Shot, because we're
really
just
cool.
excited to have the partnership, and we want to
that's
make sure
awesome.
that it's valuable for you guys and for them, and all that. So anyway,
Well, the
that
greatest
stuff
thing in the
aside.
world was
What?
we had a couple new reviews, so these people can be removed from the shaming list.
Oh,
But for
yeah.
everybody else, you're still getting shamed. On September 18th, ZCL, Second Shot, first time listening to any podcast. Honestly, I subscribed because I like Jenny. Aww. And I figured my subscription would help.
Sweet.
This morning I listened, and the podcast I listened to was about apologies. Great content, kept my attention, which is hard to do. I enjoyed their interaction because I felt like it was a part of the conversation. I was a part of the conversation. I was even responding to questions and agreeing or disagreeing with them. Great show, and thanks for a wonderful intro to podcast. I just subscribed to a bunch more. Woohoo!
I
Thanks.
hope they
You
were
guys-
agreeing with me.
It's funny because those are Zach's initials.
It's very close.
Oh,
Or-
yeah.
or wait, what's your middle name? It's not
ZBL.
ZBL.
Okay.
I was like,
Yeah.
Zach Lewis.
I know. Yeah.
We
Shout
don't
out,
need reviews that bad.
shout out to whoever in the world is ZL, traditional initials. Hi, man.
Now, the other one we
Nice
had
to see
was
it. We're like family.
Fanatic Mom of Three, and it's titled "My Umbrella is Stuck Open." I wonder which episode she's talking about. It said, "I carry too much worry. I need to shut my umbrella and stand it up so the worries fall out." Great episode, guys and gals. Love it. And there's how many episodes back was the umbrella? Was
was
that last one or
That
the one
was
before?
that was 2 episodes
Two
ago.
episodes
Yeah.
ago.
We talked about an umbrella falling in and blocking the door, which is
recent.
hilarious. So
Episode,
thank
I think,
you both
136 or 137.
for your wonderful reviews, and shame to anybody else who's been listening over and over and not left a review.
Okay, gentlemen, how is the challenge going?
Terribly.
The challenge that we put out last episode, just as a reminder, it was episode 137. We talked about the idea that we were going to try for 1 week, 7 days, at every single meal to not have your phone or not be playing on electronics or texting or emailing or anything like that. So how's it going? I heard not well from Matt
No,
Stoker.
not well at all. It's such an ingrained habit, and I do try to be more conscious about it. And I think I said on the post that you made, I've been failing at that, but I have tried in other ways to limit that. I said whenever I'm just sitting at home and I feel the need to just reach for my phone, I say no. If I've got 5 minutes to spare to look at my phone, I have the book that I'm reading right now. I'll just pick that up. I'll read a chapter. I'll read, to a stopping point. I'll put it back down and say, all right, I feel good. So I've been doing that, but the meal thing has
Eluded you.
It has.
It's
It
eluded
has
you. It's
completely
okay.
eluded me.
There are more days you can start a 7-day challenge anytime you like.
That's
Matt.
true. That's true.
What
That's
about
right.
you, Zach?
No, it's gone horribly for
He
me as well.
hasn't done it once.
Listen, I don't think I made it to like lunchtime on the first day, and my phone was out, and I was like, well, I guess I failed. I don't even
No,
think about
start
it.
over.
Oh, right.
Do it
let's-
again.
Let's be clear. I'm willing to say that on this show because I think failure is important.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah, that's,
Yes.
that's me redeeming myself here. No, I don't even think about it. I just I was eating lunch, and then I realized I was on Facebook. I was like, oh my gosh, no! I put it down, and I thought, okay, I won't do that again. And then later that same meal, I had my phone out again. It's like mind control, guys. It's like something out of They Live, and I don't know what to do about it, but I have been thinking more about it since.
Well, I'm
and I
glad
do
at least
think
got
I
the
do
wheels
at least
turning.
more actively think when I'm eating, hey, don't get your phone out, or I'll think to do it and stop myself. And like at
Right.
least
That's what's key.
That step
Yeah.
in the right direction, I think, is important because I'm
The
terrible at just giving it up cold turkey.
The idea behind this too is not that phones are bad, not that emails are bad, not that Facebook's bad, not that it's bad to even just pass some time doing that. The idea truly, at least what I was thinking and what I know could be beneficial for myself, is to let yourself think whatever thoughts are going on in your actual head, because we're taking in inputs constantly, whether it's a face-to-face conversation, whether it's your computer, book, whatever, that you're not actually, we're not hearing our own thoughts, so
Right.
we just thought, okay, mealtime would be a good challenge and a good chance to try it. And so far I've been doing okay, but again, I know that my reflex is to look right to my phone, so it's helped me with my conscious awareness of it. What about you, babe?
It's been pretty easy because, like, if I'm eating breakfast at home and stuff, typically it's with Brighton sitting there too, and like
Yeah.
I don't get a lot, so like I easily never touch it at night if we eat dinner. Like,
But
when
what
we eat
about
dinner,
at lunch at La
Well,
Cima?
but that's what I'm saying though but a lot of times, especially last week, I've had lunch with somebody that's been there that I've had to take to lunch, so I don't have really
Okay.
a ton of where it's just
Alone
me
meals, yeah.
alone. So it's pretty easy for me to judge y'all and say, why haven't you stuck to it, when there's only like one or two chances I've had and I've been able to think of them in that time, so I mean, that's
Have you
just
liked it? Do you like the idea of
I
sitting
love
there
being
with
in
your
my
own
own head.
thoughts?
I do. I love it. That's why I love meditation. That's why I like
Yeah.
mindfulness. I like being in my own head. It's just amazing the crazy things you'll think of.
It's like, my thoughts are awesome.
Well, I just like thinking about things, I guess. I don't know.
No,
Not me.
it's great. That's the idea behind it. So we had I liked the responses to the question last week. We asked, what's your favorite form of self-care?
Yeah.
Some people were talking about
In the Second Shot Facebook group, where
Yes.
some of them talking?
Yeah, on the
Super
Second Shot
secret.
Facebook group, and then also on the
Instagram?
Instagram page. So some people talked about, mani pedi. Another gal had a favorite combo, which was my sort of pre-marriage, pre-baby favorite combo, which was go to a workout class and then go to Trader Joe's afterwards,
There you go.
which is like so lame, but it's the truth. Some of the other ones people talked about were reading, going to a game, like going to some sort of event or something like that. Some other people said sleep, like letting yourself sleep in for an extra hour. So it's been fun to get ideas
Yeah.
from the crew, from the group.
Go ahead.
No, I have nothing. I have nothing good.
I was super self-conscious about my answer. Thought about it a lot since. You guys all had like health, very personal related things, and mine was like, go to a lame movie.
No,
No,
that's
going
hardly-
to a movie
No.
is very good.
I guess.
Don't fit yourself into our self-care pegs.
I'm just saying there's a
Hole.
trend here. That's all I'm saying.
No,
And
going to a
I'm
movie
an
is very
outlier.
relaxing. That would be very close to that would be in my top 3
Yeah.
of relaxing, is watching a movie and losing myself in that movie. Absolutely would be my top 3.
Yeah, turn off your phone and actually lock yourself out of the world for a minute.
So
It's
what's
right.
the question this week?
Okay,
We'll
so
fire around rapid it.
So the question this week is this. If you had an extra hour in the day, meaning all of a sudden, bingo, you have 25 hours. What are you going to do with that 1 hour? Go.
Mine is simple. I would add it in the time for my wife and I to have an extra hour at night, because by the time we get Brighton down, say 7:30, right, when you get home, until Brighton goes down, you can forget about having conversation and doing anything, because she ruins. I mean, she's like all up in all of it, right? So I mean, like, you can't do that.
Sure.
By the time you get it down at 7:30, then you got to go water the yard. You got to clean up the house. Everybody's got to, Jenny's got to get her little stuff done. I got to get my stuff done. Next thing you know, it's 9 o'clock to 9:30. Then it's like you're tired. You've been going at it all day, and so I would add my hour there.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah.
Well,
That's so
shoot.
sweet.
Does that mean that I have to add my hour there?
Right. Yeah. Where's your hour?
Just kidding. I'll piggyback on that. I like that a lot. I think that it would be nice to have those sectioned off.
Yep.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
about you, Zach?
I would love to say I would use it to grow my brand or go to the gym or do something like truly productive. I would probably do nothing with that hour, which means a lot, honestly. Like,
Which is great.
That's a great opportunity for reflection, that I would sit at home and do nothing.
So you
with
would
that hour.
meditate?
Sure. Let's call it meditation. No,
love
I
you.
would probably watch YouTube videos or play video games or get on Twitter, which is the wrong answer.
No, it's not. It's your answer.
I think it kind of is,
No,
though,
it's
isn't it,
not.
though?
No, not at all. No,
It
it's-
depends on what
no
your
hour
goals
should
are
be
in
allowed.
life.
It goes back.
It depends if that's your goal.
That makes it so much worse.
Yeah.
Matt, what's your answer, huh? What would you do?
I'd probably be on my phone.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I think the simple answer for me would be sleep. Like, I'd love to add it just somewhere in the middle of the night where it's like I wake up feeling a little bit more rested, although I should probably plan my day around that. I like y'all's idea of having it be like the perfect time of day for me is when I'm able to get home before the sun's down, and there's just that moment of time before you have to eat dinner, before you have to make dinner, where you just get home and you get to relax. And if I could just have an extra hour of that where it's like, I don't feel like I have to start cleaning the house.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I have to start dinner. I don't feel like I have to eat dinner and then take care of the dogs and then do all this other stuff. If I could just have an extra hour of that daylight time where I can do whatever I want to with it, I would love that.
All right, guys.
Love
so
it. So
it's
let
your
us
turn.
know.
Go to the Second Shot Facebook group or Second Shot Instagram, which we finally got more than Charlie, right?
No,
the dog? No,
we're still not quite.
Go follow
You're never
the
gonna catch the
Second
dog.
Shot podcast.
You're never gonna catch a dog
deal,
Instagram.
And
Second Shot podcast on Instagram.
on Instagram, because Charlie, our dog, still has more followers than us. So that would be very nice for y'all to be able to do. We hope you love the episode. Well, I'm going to keep shaming you to go leave us a rating or review, Second Shot Facebook group, or send us an email at secondshotcast@gmail.com. Where can they find you?
JennyAnchondo.com, Jenny Anchondo TV on Twitter, and Jenny Anchondo on all forms of social media. I'm looking forward to chatting with you guys soon.
At AppleZacintosh on Twitter and Instagram. Facebook.com/group/Second Shot. Come join the conversation. Tell us what's going on in your life.
You can find me, Matt Stoker1, on Instagram. It's October, which means I'm sharing a bunch of cool vintage Halloween stuff. I love doing that every year, so come check that stuff out. Also find me on the Second Shot group, where I post the new episode every single week. Like it. Leave a comment now. You've been liking it. Leave a comment.
myllc.com/second shot to go check out the newest sponsor of the show. Ed Heath Oaks at Ignorance on Fire on all social media. I love you. See you next time.